Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Copeland Center's webinar, Rap for Anyone and Everyone, which will be presented by Jawanza Hadley. I'm Katie Wilson. I'm the Copeland Center's Director of Marketing and Special Projects, and I'm so happy that all of you could be here with us today. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what's going to happen here today, which is that Jawanza is going to present on Rap for Anybody, for Everyone and Anyone, followed by a Q&A session with Jawanza. So if you have any questions, please let me know while he's presenting, and type them into your screen, and I will line those up for later to ask Jawanza. And so we are so pleased that Jawanza is with us today. Jawanza works as an independent wellness consultant based in Portland, Oregon. He has over 20 years of experience as a business professional in corporate management and educational fields. He works closely with the Conscious Educators and the Copeland Center on a variety of national and international projects. And I'd say most recently, Jawanza has worked with us to bring rap to high schools in Canada, which has just been a really exciting project. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Jawanza, and I can see your screen so everything looks set up and ready to go.
Thank you, Katie. And I would like to thank you and the Copeland Center, and also thank everyone for showing up today on this webinar. I'm really excited to be here, and so I just want to go ahead and get started now. So this is Rap for Anyone and Everyone. And what I'd like to do is just share a little bit of information about who I am and what it is I'm going to talk about, where I'm from, and kind of why I'm doing this. And again, my name is Jawanza, and I do work as a wellness consultant here in Portland, Oregon. And I took this opportunity to participate in this webinar to share my experiences around the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, or WRAP, and really how it's benefited me and impacted my life. I've just had some amazing experiences in the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. And I'd like to share that with you today. What I want to start with is talking a little bit about the traditional language used in recovery, and I'm going to share with you my experience around that. And for me, this really means focusing on out with the old and in with the new. And what I did as I was preparing for this webinar is I did a little bit of research about the definition of what a peer is. And what is a peer, or who are they? And for me, this is an interesting question that I've actually been just curious about, particularly these last 2 months. And so with the research I did, I went online and I did a search, and I came up with a few different definitions. So the first one is through the Merriam-Webster Dictionary Online, and it defines a peer as one that is of equal standing with another, or equal. Oops, sorry about that, went ahead too fast. Especially, or the second definition is especially one belonging to the same societal group, especially based on age, grade, or status. And so for me, the first definition here, that one really resonated for me. And I thought, I want to look a little bit deeper into what that means. So let me do a little bit more research. So I went on and looked up dictionary.com, and I found a couple more definitions. It defines a peer as a person of the same legal status, a jury of one's peers. a person who is equal to another in abilities, qualifications, age, background, and social status, something of equal worth or quality, a nobleman, interesting, and a member of any of the 5 degrees of the noblemen in Great Britain and Ireland: Duke, Marquis, Earl, Viscount, and Baron. And so for me, again, the one that resonates for me is the third one there that talks about something of equal worth or quality. And I really have to share with you my experience around why this question has been in my mind about what exactly is a peer. And I'd like to just take a few moments and share a story with you that I experienced here recently. In October, I was attending the Alternatives Conference here in Portland, Oregon, and I was working the Copeland Center booth. I was working with the Copeland Center and answering questions that people asked about the Copeland Center and trainings and things that were going on. And there was a young woman who came up to me and was asking me questions about trainings and how to become a RAP facilitator, and talking about the different programs that the Copeland Center is offered. And she looked at me as we were finishing our conversation. She looked at me and asked me a question that I was kind of thrown aback. I'd never been asked before. And she said, "This is great. I really love the Copeland Center and Mary Ellen's work." And then she looked at me and she said, "Are you a peer?" And I sat there and I was going, wow, I didn't know how to answer that. And she was looking at me with a look that I hadn't yet seen. And I said, no, I'm not a peer. And it was interesting because that plagued me for a while in my mind. I kept thinking, well, what did she really mean by when she was asking me what was I a peer? And it was funny. It was interesting because she looked at me when I said no, and she goes, "Oh, okay, thank you," and just kind of hurried off. And I thought, wow, what was this experience? This is amazing. What really did was she asking me? Was she asking me if I was a peer? Was she asking me if I was a person who had experienced or been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness condition or a disorder? And I just didn't know what to make of that. So I jumped forward to a week later from Alternatives. It was at the end of October, and I was in Westchester, um, Pennsylvania, attending a advanced level RAP facilitator training. And we were engaging in these exercises, and there were it came out it came up that I was asked to participate in this exercise, and I threw out a question, and I said to someone who was there, who was running the exercise, I says, "I'm not a peer. What do you think about that?" And this person said, "You are a peer. We are all peers. We are all people." And it was at that moment that it stuck in my head, like, I think that it made me rethink about the language that was used in that moment back at Alternatives. And I'm curious. I don't know. I wasn't able to talk to that woman who had asked me that question, but I'm wondering if what she was really asking me was whether or not I was diagnosed to have a mental illness or a condition. And I hadn't really. It was weird because I had never thought about that for any moment, but I realized that even in my own language, I didn't have a clear understanding of what it meant to be a peer. And so these two experiences at Alternatives and at the Timonos Retreat Center in Westchester, Pennsylvania, really had me come up with form my own new definition of what it means to be a peer. And for me, we are all peers. Peers are all of us that are living lives and going um, through this thing called life, and we all experience struggles and ups and downs, and to different degrees, of course, but we all experience them. And so I wanted to take a few moments and share with you kind of my life before rap, um, and kind of how I got to be where I am today. So when I think of my experience with rap, I look back in the past and I feel like that I have been a very privileged person. I grew up with privilege. And it's interesting because when I say that, um, I know in the past, people who know me may not think that I had very much privilege. I was a product of a single parent household. Um, about 4 years ago, my father passed away, and I hadn't seen him in 26 years. And we were pretty poor. But despite that, I would feel like I was privileged because I had a mother, a person in my life, someone who modeled what it was to have hope in everything that we do each and every day. And she did that because she saw a future for me that I couldn't see at the time. I was able to go to college and get a college degree. And I was able to do that not because my mother paid for it, but because I was had some abilities and was able to get some help funding my college education. I started a family really, really early. I got married at the age of 18. I started a family. I have four beautiful daughters. And because of my college education, I was able to get a pretty decent job. I was in education, and I coached and I worked with youth. And from all the outward appearance, it would seem, and I thought that I had a really, really good life, that everything was okay, that everything was great. But I always felt like there was something that just wasn't quite there. And even despite all of these things, this privilege, this college degree, this starting a family early, this good job and good life, there was something that just wasn't quite there, that was missing. And this leads to, for me, how rap was introduced to me. I went through a divorce, and it was a very difficult point in time in my life. Um, and not only did I go through one divorce, I got divorced, and by the time, after a couple of years of getting through that and going through that, I found that I myself married again, and then I was divorced again after that. Talk about, self-esteem issues. I was always curious about, for me, what was it about me that was wrong, that I would put myself in these situations where I was getting divorced. My relationships with my daughters were struggling. I I found myself at times feeling really, really down and depressed, just questioning myself as a man, as a father, and not knowing really what direction I had. The state of the economy really affected me quite a bit. Despite this divorce, despite the ups and downs and the struggles I was going through, there was one thing that was consistent that kind of kept me going, and that was the fact that I had a good job. So it helped me not have to worry about paying bills. It helped me make sure that I had the means to help provide for my kids, despite being divorced. And I was able to get through. That was just kind of the one thing that I could always hang my hat on and just say, okay, even though the world looks like it's not doing well, even though things aren't looking good, I still have the ability to make ends meet in terms of finances. And then my world was turned upside down. I was laid off from my job, and it took a moment for that to sit in. And I, it hit me so hard that I didn't even know how to respond or react. I had lots of family members and who were surprised. I had friends who were wondering, what my reaction was going to be, because I didn't really react because I didn't know how to react. It was a, and then all in one day it came up on me and it came kind of crashing together. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay bills? How am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to help to take care of my kids? I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. And I was at this kind of low point in my life because I just didn't have any direction. I blamed the system, and I didn't know that there were actions I could take. I blamed the educational system, the system of the uh, uh, of the of the way the education was across the country, and how could they lay me off? I had 10 years experience. I was blaming the principal who delivered the news, even though it was out of his control, and it was his superiors of the administration who were directing him and guiding him on making those kinds of decisions about laying people off. But I was in this area of blame where I wasn't taking any personal responsibility for myself, despite the situation. And I had lots of family members who cared about me, but I felt as though I was alone and that I had no direction, no options, no way to go. And it was interesting because as I shared with you a little bit ago that my family members, I'm the only person on my mom's family that has gone through and had a college degree. And so there was a lot of pressure on me from my family as I was the person who quote unquote made it, who got through it. And when a lot of my family members had found out that I was laid off, they were like, wow, how could this be? Why would you be laid off? How could you be laid off? And there was another unseen amount of pressure that was there for me because I was that person who could care, I guess a lot of my family members could live vicariously through me. And so that was difficult. And I thought, wow, I didn't know what to do. I was alone. I was scared and wasn't sure what my next step was. I had no idea. And that was when rap was introduced to me. Um, I was on a family vacation, and one of my relatives, who I see usually once or twice a week, had found out and talked about that when I shared with them that I was laid off, they had said, "Wow, that's amazing." And I started asking more questions about what it was that she was doing with her life, and she kind of explained to me in kind of an overview of the experiences around this program, this curriculum called the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, or WRAP. And she explained how she used it every day on an everyday basis to help her be. And the concept and the idea of this was interesting to me, but it was still sort of abstract and kind of out there. I couldn't really grasp a hold of really what that meant. And so I talked some more with this family member, and it definitely had some appeal to it. And I shared earlier that there was something with my life that even though I had privilege and college degree and families and good jobs, there was something quite missing. But this really appealed to me for some reason. I couldn't quite put a finger on it, but I immediately gravitated towards rap. And I said, I want to figure out what this is. I want to find out where this is going to take me, what I can do with this to help me in my life right now. Now, I remember this family member shared with me and said, the timing works out such that we have this international conference coming up in a few months, and it would be great if you could attend, and I'd like to invite you to go. And I said, well, I don't have any money right now. I'm not working. I don't know, I just don't think that that's a possibility. And this family member said, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll take care of your expenses. And I was thinking to myself immediately, okay, I want to learn a little bit more about this rap, but a free trip to an international conference in Philadelphia, I got to go for this. I got to take it upon myself and take advantage of the situation and really see what this is about. And I'll tell you, it was the best decision of my life. That's when I really was able to see hundreds of people from all over the world who had a high energy around this program called the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. I was like, wow, this is amazing, and I knew it was for me. And I started to take every opportunity to find out as much as I could about rap and to really begin to implement it in my life. I started forming my own rap and consulting with um, my family member who became my mentor, who shared with me the experiences that she had around this program. And where is rap? Rap is changing my life right now. It's through the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, I found hope. I was able to really look at my life situation and see that there is a way out. There's a way to continue on. There's a way to continually work and strive to get better. And this is something that when I got laid off from my job, I had lost hope. And through this Wellness Recovery Action Plan, I was able to find that hope again. By talking with my family member and continually working to develop my rap, I started educating myself on the fact that there were options and choices out there for me. There were things that I could do in my life that could help me get through these troubling times, and that I don't have to think that there is end and that there's succumb to dire predictions about my future. I didn't have to think about those things because I could focus on continually working towards myself, that there was this way I could change and be. And through this, I started reliving or just revisiting my experience around the situation where I was laid off with my job and looking at what we call in rap the 5 key concepts. And I found hope because once I started to educate myself about the possibilities and options that were out there, I was able to take personal responsibility. I no longer feel any blame towards the administration, the principal, the system, or anything, because I was able to say, you know what, I'm going to be responsible for what happened. And yeah, things happen, life happens, and I can blame the system and people who don't know me, who were told by other people to lay me off, or that we had to make changes, or blame the system and because of the way our nation holds the educational system. But no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to stay there. I don't want to get stuck in that line of thinking. I found that there's a way to continue to get better. And so once I could take that personal responsibility, I was able to advocate for myself. And so I shared with my mentor, my family member, that I wanted to follow her and shadow her and really find out about what is this Wellness Recovery Action Plan. I wanted to do this work because it was working in my life. And by doing so, I was able to create a huge system of support. Through this work and working around the Wellness Recovery Action Plan and using it every day of my life, I have people all over the world, all over the country, all over the North America who I know and am networked with now as a result of working with RAP. And each and every day, my focus is trying to find out what is it that I'm hopeful for when I wake up in the morning. And sometimes I have these big, grand thoughts about what I want to be hopeful for, and sometimes it's just a tough day, and I'm hopeful to get through the day. But always looking for that hope. Always taking personal responsibility for what we look for, and continually trying to educate myself on what are the things I can do, and advocating for the things that I want and need, and continuously trying to develop systems of support. And this leads me back to my experience over at the Timonos Retreat Center in um, Westchester, Philadelphia. We see what we look for. Debbie Anderson. And Debbie Anderson is a well-respected contributor to the rap community. And when we was going through this training and she said this, and it immediately caught my attention. And I kind of flashed back to these thoughts of when I first was being introduced to rap and what it was like and how I felt hopeless. And, you know, for me, I look back and I think I felt hopeless because I wasn't looking for hope. I didn't feel like I had to take personal responsibility, and I was blaming the principal and the system and the schools for laying me off because that's what I was looking for. I was looking to blame somebody. Um, and as I look at myself now, as how I've reframed my perspectives on things, this quote is paramount. We see what we look for, and it's huge. And you know, every day I'm thinking about that. What am I looking for? I'm looking to be hopeful. I'm looking to take personal responsibility. I'm looking to continually educate myself, and that's how rap is continually changing my life. And the most beautiful part about it is now I can just show up and go from doing to being. And what I mean by this is, you know, some people, a lot of the time, they ask me when I meet them for the first time and they talk about, like, what do you do? And I used to want to rattle off or say, like, well, I do this, this is my job, this is what I do. And through this continual process of educating myself around the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, I don't have to worry about what it is that I do. I can just be. And that's the greatest thing that for me that I found with rap is that I can just be who I am without any judgments and not worried about it because, you know, I don't have to worry about what other people are thinking about me because I can take personal responsibility for worrying about what those others around me may be thinking about. And it's just a great feeling to just be. So where is rap taking me now? Um, Rap has opened up so many doors. I've met peers I would have never met before. I found new supports. Working with rap allows me to be present and in the moment. This kind of goes back into that just focusing on being and not doing. This also allows me to continue to just get well, be well, and stay well. And probably the most important thing I think with this whole thing that I figured out about rap as I work on it and continually implement it and change it throughout my life is that rap is not this problem solver. And this is something that's interesting for me because I first thought that rap was this thing that would solve all my problems. But I realized that rap is not a problem solver, but it's a way to stay well despite problems and challenges that occur every day in life. Katie mentioned at the beginning that I had an opportunity to work with them on a recent project in Canada. That was an amazing experience for me to be able to come together and work with 30 high school students becoming rap facilitators. And the fact that these 30 students are running rap groups right now in high schools. And it is amazing to me because I think for myself, I remember back to how I was as a high school student. I would have really benefited from something like the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. I also have had the opportunity to travel and to meet people at places like Alternatives, the Rap Around the World conference last year in Philadelphia. And I just continually work to grow the network of individuals that I can choose to work with and that and it's just an amazing experience. I love this work. I love rap, and for me, it works. And I guess the one thing I will want to say is I don't want to paint a picture that everything's always rosy, because I can tell you right now, uh, wholeheartedly, that it's not. There's still days and times there's struggles in my life and things that I'm struggling with, from relationships with my daughters and my family to um, working on financial issues and things around that. There's things in my life that I still continue to work on, but whenever I'm faced with those challenges, I built rap plans around them, and I'm able to kind of manage those things. And even the things that I haven't built a rap plan for that just kind of come up out of the blue, I'm able to think about those 5 key concepts and think of ways to have hope and think of ways to um, continually strive towards working to find those 5 key concepts every day in my life. So here's some pictures I'd like to share with you, and this kind of just goes on to some of the things that I'm able to do. Um, the first picture in the top left corner up here is the high school Canada project. 30 rap facilitators. In fact, I just received an email from one of them yesterday, and they were sharing how well the rap groups are going up there, and um, I'm looking forward to seeing them at the Rap Around the World conference in Oakland. There's going to be a large contingent of youth there talking about their experiences with rap. Um, in the middle, you'll see the fingers with like the peace sign and all the different sitters. I took that with some of the admins and the facilitators up in Canada. Next, the little baby picture here is my my grandson. Actually, I just became a grandfather. Just about a month ago. Xavier Michael, that's him. Up in the far right corner is my youngest daughter, Kiera. We were able to go to a trip in San Francisco and go to the little candy shop. And the other picture in the middle on the left is my other 3 daughters. Down to the big picture in the middle here, bottom right, is a contingent of rap facilitators that were trained in Fresno County, the county of Fresno in California. That was an awesome experience as well. And this last picture here is from some of my supports. I just facilitated a 3-day with a few individuals down in Santa Clara, California, Waynette Brock and Lynn Murphy. And this is us as we were preparing to do our 3-day We Gotta Go team with our fists in there ready to go. And this final picture is a picture of me at Alternatives, along with Matthew Federici, the Executive Director of the Copeland Center, BJ Norris from Conscious Educators, and also Mary Ellen Copeland. And I just think about the idea and the fact that had I never been introduced to rap, I would never be able to have an opportunity to meet these people and to be just to be who I am. And this is a great opportunity, great to meet people from all over the country and all over the world. And I just look forward to continually working on my wellness and continuing to get better with myself. And because there's always room for me to get better. And this will help me moving forward. So in conclusion today, I've shared with you what it means for me to be a peer and why it's important to me. And I think, this has kind of changed, the perspective of how my outlook on a lot of different things. And peers, we are all peers. And that experience really moved and changed me, the experience I had at the Alternatives, because it really made me rethink what are my traditional ideas about language. And it's interesting because as a facilitator, as an advanced level rap facilitator, we talk all the time about the power and importance of language, and the way the language is formed all around us at all times in each and every moment. And the things that we do and sometimes don't do help us to create and form our language. And it's interesting because I really had to look at that for myself and what that meant. uh, because I was really intrigued by that. The reaction I had when that young woman asked me if I was a peer. And I can tell you right now, for without a shadow of a doubt, if someone asked me that today, I'm saying I'm a peer, and I'm a peer because we are all people, and we are a peer because um, despite the fact that I may not have been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness or condition, I can tell you right now, through my life experiences, I've really struggled and really went through some ups and downs and been at some really, really bad, low places. And so I'm happy to say I'm a peer. I also explain how the Wellness Recovery Action Plan has impacted my perspective on everyday life. It's something, for me, rap is it's a way of life. It's a way of living. You know, I don't have to worry about doing. It's about being and living rap each and every single day, and being the best I can be and striving towards it. And you know, we're not perfect, and I'm not perfect, and I'm just going to continually work my rap plan to be as well as I can be every single day. And my mentor shared this quote with me once, and she talked about the idea of negative space. What is absent shapes my reality, and it's interesting because I think of my life before rap and my life before rap. I I had all these good things around. I had a job, I had a family, I had these kind of things, but something wasn't quite right, and there was something missing, right? So for me, looking back, I feel like that what was missing in my life was this focus on getting well and being well and staying well as often as possible. And after rap, the negative space, what is absent now is that focus on the negative. And this keeps me going each and every single day. And my final point is that in my experience, with the things I've shared with you today and the things I continually have seen, um, not over just the last 2 years or a year and a half or so since I've been introduced to to rap, but also even looking back to my life prior to that, rap is for anyone and everyone. And with that, I would like to I'll conclude. But before I change it back over to Katie, I did want to share those of you who are attending here. We are going to have the Rap Around the World conference. The Copeland Center is hosting this January 25th to the 27th in Oakland, California. It'll be co-hosted or hosted by Peers. And Peers is a one of the Copeland Center's first centers of excellence around using rap. And they are Peers, by the way, stands for Peers Envisioning and Engaging in Recovery Services. And for more information to register, um, more information to register there, you can visit the Copeland Center at the website, which is copelandcenter.com. And thank you, and we'll see you there. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Katie, and we can open it up for if there's any questions that anybody have.
Great. Thank you so much, Joanne. So this was a really wonderful presentation about where you started with and how you moved through knowing about rap and some of the experiences you've had with it so far. I do have a few questions from the audience, but we can still definitely take some more. So if people would like to type in questions into the chat box or the question box, please do so, and we can put your questions into the queue. The first question comes from Nancy, and she says, first, this is so good. And then her question is about experience to join the advanced level training. And I was wondering if maybe you could talk about your experiences that led to your advanced level training, some of the trainings you did, where you did them, how many, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you. So to Nancy and to you, Katie, I for the advanced level facilitator, it was a long process, and I started off with a lot of mentoring. Once I really focused in and dialed in on my rap, I spent probably I don't know 3 or 4 months, 5 months maybe, just mentoring around my rap plan before I went to actually rap facilitator training. And then after that, it's been about 9, 10 months before I went to the advanced level rap facilitator training. And in that time, I did um, a lot of mentoring. I mean, I took it upon myself because this is something that I really have a passion for and am excited about. And so I did a lot of shadowing. I actually traveled to a number of 3-day overviews and shadowed on somewhere around 4 or 5 different rap facilitator trainers. So I watched the whole process, so I was able to get a feel of it. And I'd say more importantly, um, that all during this time and to this day continually, I still facilitate rap groups. I work with a organization here local to Oregon that based in Corvallis, Oregon, and it's a substance abuse, it's a residential substance abuse and treatment facility, and I continually hold rap groups there for the women's program and for the youth program there as well. So I'm continually working around rap, and um, that's been my experience. I'm not sure if I was able to answer Nancy's question, but yeah.
No, that's great. So one thing that I'd like to share about Jawanza is just he's had wonderful opportunities to really go out and be at 3-day rap introductions to rap and other formats of introducing rap. Um, but that anyone who's interested in advanced level training, doing rap groups and doing rap presentations, that's really the path to advanced level training. And that many people ask us, how long does it take? But the answer is really in how much experience you get and not the number of days since your facilitator training has occurred. So thanks, Nancy, for your question. Our next question comes from Marilyn, and she has a really good question that we get a lot of times here at the Copeland Center. And you can just share your thoughts. Obviously, there's no real right or wrong answer to this, but if you can't find a rap support group, how can you start one?
Hmm, that's great. How to start a rap support group? Well, I think this for me. I'm not sure. I would continue if it was me. I would continue to educate myself around what are the closest um, support groups in my area, and reach out to individuals who may not be really close local to me, but maybe that are surrounding me in a greater area, and network with those individuals and build a support network yourself around that. There's also lots of um, training around online that's offered where you can create your own rap and share your own rap, and that's actually encouraged by Mary Ellen in the Copeland Center. Mary Ellen Copeland is to develop your own rap and share it with others. And so I would just reach out and try to educate about who is around me closely, and create that network. That's something that I continuously do because I can say for me, um, I've come to find out that there are a few rap facilitators in Oregon, but there are not a lot of them. And so I actually had that issue sort of myself, and it was just a matter of reaching out there to different organizations around and finding individuals that at least had heard about rap, knew about rap, and started to work with them to create that group together.
Great. Our next question comes from Eva Marie, who says, hi, and salutes from the Puerto Rico Mental Health Intensive Case Management Program. Which book is recommended for self-training? I have a team, and all of us need to learn more about rap. Do you have a favorite book,
Hmm.
Jawanza?
Self-training. I would start. I mean, for me, it always has started with the Red Book, the Mary Ellen's Red Book. Um, that's just called the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. Um, to me, that's what I gravitated towards, and that's what I would suggest. But there are several other books out there. That's where I would start.
Great. I also really like the Rap Plus book. It gives you a lot of different ideas about working on your own rap. Of course, the Red Book is the classic, and it's what lots and lots of people have used. But if you have an opportunity to look through the Rap Plus, that's a great resource as well. And I just had in from another advanced level facilitator, Denise Camp. She says you can refer people to you can refer questions on RAP support groups to Denise Camp, who is in Maryland, and she's in On Her Own, Maryland. So you can check
Oh,
them out online, and she has some ideas about RAP support groups. Our next question is from Elizabeth. She asks, "What are the core elements of the RAP training, and how is the living with RAP as a practice different, the same, or synergistic with mindfulness practices? If you have any experience or knowledge with those." I think they're.
um, I'm sorry, can you restate that? I missed the last part of
Oh,
that
sure.
question.
Sure. What are the core elements of the RAP training, and how is the living with RAP as a practice different, the same, or synergistic with mindfulness practice? If you have any experience with or knowledge of mindfulness practices.
Hmm. So, the core elements of the RAP training um, are through creating a RAP plan. So there are 6 parts to that. There is before you start the RAP plan, we work with wellness tools. Then we do the daily maintenance plan. Then there is a section called triggers. There's early warning signs. There is when things are breaking down. There is the crisis plan, and then there is post-crisis planning. And this is the core parts um, of the RAP training. And in terms of the second question, whether or not the living with RAP and how it relates to mindfulness, um, I don't have experience with the works around mindfulness, so I really can't say how well that works with that.
Yes, thanks, Joanza.
You have any? I don't know if you have any, Katie, to add to that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the only thing I would add is that RAP is sort of a container for a lot of different things, and so having a mindfulness practice could certainly be part of your RAP. But I'm also not an expert on the practice of mindfulness outside of trying to be present in the moment. So that's all I have to say about that. Oh, and Denise Campus is chiming in here as well. She says mindfulness activities and practice would be part of the wellness toolbox that was mentioned as a part of RAP. So there we go. Thanks, Denise. All right. Well, does anyone else have any other questions? These are sort of, we've gone through the ones we have, but we still have a few more minutes if people would like to ask Jawanza anything. Um, it's been a really terrific opportunity to talk with an advanced level facilitator who is so passionate about RAP and has done a lot of different trainings as well. And I guess since, well, we have a few minutes, I would like to say it would be wonderful if we could have as many of you as possible attend the Wrap Around the World conference. It's in Oakland on January 27th or 25th through 27th. It's where Jawanza got his start in rap, and as he could say, as he told you in his presentation, uh, it's just a wonderful opportunity to both be with people who are really supportive of people taking care of themselves and also seeing different kinds of systems changes that people are implementing and things like that. So we do have another request for you, Jawanza, though, which is could you tell us how you got rap into high schools in Canada? So if you have any comments on that, and I can say a few things too if after you're done.
Yeah, so I think this may be a question where we both have to chime in on this, Katie, because I was brought in after you guys had already started working on this,
Yeah.
like with Matthew, and um, the biggest the biggest thing was um, working with, I know it was a joint partnership between Alberta Health Services that Matthew started, that the Copeland Center started, and I was brought in primarily because of my interest and love for rap, and also my experience with working with youth, teens, transition age youth. Did you want to add to that, Katie?
Well, I could just talk a little bit about we have a wonderful partner with Alberta Health Services in Canada, and they have someone there who has just an enormous vision of where rap can be for them in their province. And her name is Komala Pepin, who will also be at the Rap Around the World conference, as well as a number of these youth who Jawanza trained, which will be really exciting and just bring a whole nother energy to the area. But they had really just believed, after doing some rap training within their agency, that this would be a great compatible program with some of the challenges they were seeing with people coming from the high schools. And they really wanted to involve youth, and it took a lot of meetings with teachers and principals and doing rap overviews to a lot of different stakeholders to get things into this place where then Jawanza could go and do the training, which we were so happy about. So that's sort of how it came about, and it's just a reminder that thinking as big as you possibly can about where rap would be beneficial and what partnerships you need to make that happen is really how we get some of these bigger rap projects going in different places. So
Katie,
now, yes,
oh, sorry, can I chime in for a second?
absolutely.
I just wanted to say that for those listening, that it wasn't just me that was in the training. It was actually a team of us
Yes.
from all over. Letia Lenes and Rocio Lenes from Piers down in Oakland were there as well, as well as with Jen Cusick, who is a advanced level rap facilitator in out of Vancouver, Canada, and also Larissa Arndt, who is a rap facilitator in Canada as well. So we went as kind of a joint team venture because there were so many students that were being facilitated. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Absolutely. We always send people out in teams, and so I hope that when you guys go out and facilitate, that that's how you do it as well. And the more the better, really.
Yeah.
So that's good. We have a question from Aspen who asks, has Jawanza had the opportunity to work on organizational rap? My local depression support group is attempting this, and any advice or suggestions are appreciated.
The answer to this is a resounding yes. This is actually an area that um, I'm continuing to work on. I've done it in two ways. Let's see. I'll tell you how we did it I'll share how we did it in both ways. Well, one, I've done it, and the other one I'm continually working on right now. So the first one was the organization that I'm working with in Milestone, in Corvallis. It's called Milestones Family Recovery. And um, the executive director there found out about rap and was looking to introduce it um, as a new strategic approach to wellness in their organization. And what we did is a few. I teamed up with a few other individuals, BJ North out of Conscious Educators, Audrey Garfield with the Copeland Center, and Matthew Federici, and we did a 3-day team organizational rap overview and presentation. And so we got together all of the key stakeholders, all of the management, supervisors, and team of individuals, and we had an overview. And it was really it was about rap, but it was also about focusing on how to help assist the organization work together better as a team to using rap as the core kind of connecting piece, so that the organization can be well. One of the things that we have found is that going into organizations, sometimes the organizations aren't well because there's such a high focus on quote unquote the client or other people. And so we really took the stance and the approach of bringing this in to focus on the wellness of the employees that are actually working at the organization. And that was the first step. And so then as a result of that came meetings around working towards creating new vision, new mission statement for the organization, and really giving an opportunity for the employees that are working there to be heard and to be well, increase the productivity. And this is all based on and founded on RAP and the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. The second piece that I'm actually working on right now is actually a joint venture, and this is I'm actually working with the Copeland Center on this, but it's a stigma reduction project in the state of California, and this is where together with a it's called Mental Health Works in the Workplace, or Wellness Works in the Workplace. It's a mental health partnership, and what this is focusing on is around stigma reduction around mental health in the workplace, in corporations. And so this is working with, there's about 20 of us at the table here, and the Copeland Center has one piece of that. And we're developing curriculum to be delivered to these corporations to assist their employees around mental health challenges, or just challenges around everyday work at their organization. And so it's a continually work in progress, but that's something that we're partnering with. I'm partnering with the Copeland Center with to help on that. I hope that answered the question.
I think that was terrific. Thank you, Jawanza. So we do have just a couple more minutes, and we have a few more questions. So I'm just going to send them out to you, and we'll see how many we can get through.
Okay.
This is from Meg. She asks, I work with youth with a disability. Some have mental illness, some do not. For me, it's about getting them to see hope. What's a good place to start with them?
Let's see. I think a good place is allowing them to be. That worked for me. I mean, one of the things that I went into, and I can only speak from my experience, and this, hopefully this can resonate with the person that asked this question, but when I went into work with the youth, it's a residential facility, and all they were, in this facility, these youth were being told what to do every single moment of the day, and because of that, it would seem to me that they had a really difficult time, not just because of that, but because of other things as well, that they had a trouble identifying that hope. And then where we really started to see hope show up was in those rap groups that I was working with, in those groups really containing, holding the values and ethics that we use as rap facilitators. And there are no final options. There's choices and options, no final decisions. Allowing the youth to actually just be. I talked a little bit about that today. Just be who they are. So not shutting them down is what worked for me. In that, by doing that, what happened was the kids were amazed because they had never been allowed to just be in a situation. They and the rap groups I have now are amazing, especially compared to where they started at over a year ago in the organization. And it's because of I believe a lot of it has to do with the freedom that they've experienced and had as a result of the rap group, and allowing them to just be. Kids are told what to do all the time. Youth are told what to do. Allow them to be who they are and what they're doing, and that seems to work for me.
I think that is a wonderful answer, and really adhering to the ethics and values of rap. So, one other thing that we say is we share to inspire, and that really can help people find some hope if they hear that other people have been able to do it as well, Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
it was.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it was an amazing experience for me when the youth in the group that I was running, when they were being what some people would call loud, obnoxious, or whatever, and they're really trying to be disruptive, and or not even just not trying to be, they're just being who they're being, and to allow them to do that and to see the look on their face when they were allowed to just be that was amazing to me, and I'll never forget that experience.
That's terrific. Thank you for sharing with us, Jawanza. And thank you for putting on this entire webinar. It's been wonderful to hear your experiences and to hear some of your thoughts on some of these really great questions we've had this afternoon. And thank you all for joining us today. And for those of you who are in the U.S., we wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. You can find out more information about all of the Copeland Center's projects and workshops and trainings and free webinars and all sorts of things on our website, copelandcenter.com, as well as more information about our conference. Additionally, we will have this webinar. We've been recording it, so we'll be able to put that up online for you, as well as have the PowerPoint available for people who'd like to review it after the broadcast. So again, thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your Monday.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.